Take 168. Let's do some seeds. I'm going to try and group them so that the sowing method that you use will be the same for that group of seeds. So first of all, I've got butternut squash, pumpkins, I know you want to grow those, courgettes, I've got both sorts. Now these seeds are quite flat. You can sow them direct into the soil, so if you're running out of compost or you haven't got pots, don't worry. Hold off for a little while and then you can sow them straight into the ground. And the seeds are very flat. And the only thing these seeds are fussy about is which way they go in the soil. So I'm going to plant them, not flat, but on their edge. And it just stops them getting too wet and rotting. I'm going to put, now do I put one in a pot and chance it? No, let's go with what Granny says. One to sow, one for the crow, and one to grow. And if they do happen to all grow, brilliant. One, I'd be amazed. Two, I'd be extremely lucky. I can always throw the weak one away. Or put it in the ground somewhere and see what happens. So you can see I've got them on their edge like that. And then all I have to do is get a bit more compost, sprinkle it on top, pat it down, put a label in because when these start to come through they do look alike. And then of course it needs watering. Let me pop that one there. Let's do another one. First of all, get your compost in the pot. Now at this point it's still quite loose. And my granny always told me to push it down to get rid of all the air pockets so you've got a nice flat surface to do your sowing in. I bet when you hear me talk about sowing, you think I mean a needle and thread. Not this time. This is gardening and this is sowing seeds. What shall I try next? Butternut squash. Love butternut squash, so tasty. And these are all pretty similar in growing habit, which is why I can show you these all together. Flat seeds again, look. So I'm going to plant them on their side. 1, 2, 3. Something you don't hear every day. I haven't heard a plane in ages, but I've just heard a motorbike. Now, the seeds like to be about ½ an inch deep, but do you know what? It's all on the back of the packet. So have a look. Compost on top, and then through force of habit, I give it a pat. Where's my label gone? There it is. So that's butternut squash. Brilliant. So those all can be sown into your pots using that method. Okay? Right, let's put those to one side. Next one. I've got slightly bigger pots now because again, these can all be sown in the same way. And yes, they can go in the ground. So if you haven't got pots, keep a hold of them. It's too early to do Jack and the Beanstalk beans yet. We're still getting frosts. So don't be tempted yet, okay? But we can sow French beans, they're the dwarf ones, climbing French beans, Jack and the Beanstalk, runner beans, and sweet corn can go in now as well. I'm going to do, let's see, the sweet corn and the beans. If I'm growing them in pots, that's fine because I can put them somewhere sheltered. If you've got a greenhouse, that's fine. If you haven't, wait a week or so and that will give them a better chance. I'm going to grow climbing French beans. Now last year, I've got to tell you, I had a terrible year last year for French beans and for runner beans. I had to re-sow them 3 times. I can't afford to do that this year because I can't get the seed. That's why I'm doing them in pots. In a couple of weeks' time, I will sow some straight into the ground, and I'll show you that at the allotment. Now, there's two ways of doing this. I've filled my pot, and you can see I've left a gap at the top. And then all I do is put my beans on top, and it tells you what depth to plant them at on the packet, so I'm not going to do that for you. You can investigate and find out. One for the sow, one for the crow, one to grow. One to sow, one for the crow, one to grow. Okay. Now these beans are very black, so I don't know if you'll be able to see them. Okay, and now all I do is put compost on top, pat it down. I'll do that with those in a minute. Done. These pots are filled right to the top because this is the other way that you can do it. This is technical, so year 4, 5 and 6, and any smart gardeners out there who want to have a try, this is now your dibber. You could use your finger, but pencil's the best. Make a hole to the depth that you want your seed to be tucked into bed. So I've made 3 holes using my dibber, about the same depth. 1, 2, 3. And then I drop my seed into the hole. Sometimes you have to give it a little help. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. You have to give it a little bit of help to find that gap in the soil. Not always. And then all you do, save those for later, is give it a pat so that the holes fill up. I'm going to take those 2 out because I will do those later. Then I will know which ones I've got beans in and which ones I haven't. And again, label it, water it. I'll finish those later. Okay, so that's the method for sowing your beans and your peas. I forgot about peas. Remember I said I'd started some off? Ta-da! Here's one I made earlier. And you can see some of the pots, all 3 have come up. Some of them, it's just starting there. It's a bit slow. Most of them have come up, and that's why you put a spare seed in. If these are a bit lazy, a bit sleepy, they'll catch up. But at the moment, I've got plenty to start me off. Okay. Next. Sweet peas. Now, sweet peas and sweet corn don't like to have their roots disturbed. So once they're potted or starting to grow in these pots, I'm just going to pick up the whole pot and bury it in the ground. I don't do sweet peas or sweet corn in plastic pots because when you tip them out of the plastic pot, they get disturbed. They don't like it. So, again, oh look, it's got a little label with it. How good is that? These are a present. I know I'm a bit late sowing these, but I love them. And if they're a bit slow to start, they'll catch up. You could use the dibber method, or you could do what I do, which is just leave the right depth of compost, pop them in. Love sweet peas, remind me of my granny. And then I'm going to put the compost on the top. Simple. Or it would be if my hands weren't shaking quite so much. I knew it was worth making those toilet roll tubes, didn't you? Worth all the effort. So, I've got the label. Dear, dear, dear. Soil on top. Press it down. I say soil, I'm using compost because it gives the seeds a good start. There's all the nutrients and food in there that the seeds need to succeed. Okay, I will finish those later. Now, I know you wanted to do sunflowers. Why not? And you can see I've got my paper pots ready. And I'm going to put, guess how many in each pot? You've got it. 3 in each. And usually one grows stronger than the others. So that will be the one that I will keep. But I'm going to show you a trick. One at the bottom. I knew it. I'll put soil on top of those in a minute. Do you trust me? I will, I promise. I'm going to show you a trick that one of the children did for me last year. Hope you're watching. She gave me a little present. And in here, she's got the soil, compost, and the seeds, and then she's wrapped it up in newspaper and tied it with a bow. And this was a present for me, and I could put it straight in my garden. And the seeds inside were sunflowers. And I thought, what a lovely gift. I can actually make one of these and put it on my mum's doorstep because I can't go and see her at the moment. I could leave it on her doorstep with a label on telling her what to do, and that would be a nice gift, wouldn't it? Ever so easy. I hope you don't mind me sharing this because this was your idea, but it was such a good one. So, a little pat of soil. And it works really well with sunflower seeds. I'm going to put 3 seeds in because it is a present and I do want it to work. You imagine if I left one for my neighbours along the road and they popped them in their garden, by the time this is all over, we'd all be looking at really tall, bright sunflowers. That's a nice thought, isn't it? Now, I don't know if this is how my friend did it, but this works for me. And I literally just fold it up into a little parcel. Of course, your little fingers can do it much, much neater. And the newspaper rots away in the soil by the time the seeds are ready to push through. Uh-oh. As I said, your little fingers will do this much, much better than me. Tie it in a bow. I've got room for a label on there. Because not everybody knows about gardening. You guys know lots now. You are going to be my experts. There we go. That's nice, isn't it? And then literally, all they have to do, I haven't got my trowel, is, where's that gone? Never mind. In my garden, I shall dig a hole about that deep and just drop it in. Perfect. Perfect. Aha. I found my trowel. So, that deep. Dig a hole, pop the parcel in the ground, cover it over. Perfect. That is so old, I can't begin to tell you. Belonged to my grandpa, I'm told. Right, was there anything else? Tomatoes.